Sorry, I just
You got a good turnout today so far.
Oh, I didn't mute you, did I? Or did I? Yep, sorry. Let's get rid of that. Now let's start this. Oh, look at all the people coming in. I'm not really ignoring everybody. I'm just kind of dragging my feet because there's a billion people registered today. Well, maybe half a billion. So I'll welcome you all in just a second here. I'm going to go over here, try to move through. We are 103 registered today. Woohoo! So let me get over here. Somebody's already got something in the chat. Oops. Hitting it all. Turn off the waiting room. And there they come. There's a bunch of people coming today, folks. At 23, I expect almost double that. And nobody has... Oh, Barbara's the first one to turn her camera on. All the people. Live transcription. I will do that. There you go. There's Kevin. You look like you're cold, Kevin. Where are you?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, well, then you're probably a little bit colder than we are here.
What do you got today?
Oh, we're hitting a whopping 37. Hot.
Oh wow, yeah, we're beating you today.
Really?
By a little bit. Yes, 45 here today.
Oh, we haven't seen 45 for a couple of weeks.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what.
We don't have any precipitation either, so it's looking nice.
Oh yeah, it had rained yesterday. It was supposed to snow, but it didn't snow. It ended up raining. But in the days prior, it was as high as 70.
We haven't seen 70
the
since
weirdest thing.
We haven't seen 70 since early August.
Yeah, it was so weird. So it's not typical here for Connecticut, but yeah, we'll take it.
You're going to, I'm sure, have some snow before we do. Sometimes
Yeah,
we
yeah.
get it just before. Where'd my mouse go? Just before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
That's all I need.
but yeah, it's pretty cold. Hey, Arthur.
Did you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Well, I can now. How are you, my friend?
We're 25.
Well, not bad. Busy. Crazy
Yeah,
week,
good.
but yeah.
Busy is good, man. Busy is
Yeah.
good. I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, you guys. I've been pretty busy too.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a pretty crazy week, but it's all right.
Good stuff. We like busy, man.
Yeah.
That's how you pay the bills.
Yeah.
We're 25 people and growing. 29 now. And no, we haven't started anything. We're just sitting here waiting for everybody to show up. That's not bad. 3 minutes after, I got pretty close to what I think is going to be our max. Not a max allowed, but number of people who are going to show up. There's Sia. Oh yeah, she reminds me I got to have more coffee. Well, Arthur, you should have been here about 15 minutes ago. I was sweating bullets because I couldn't get everything to turn on correctly. So I finally did, and I have no idea which one I did first. And I have to go through and after the meeting and try to figure out what order did I turn stuff on and off.
Oh yeah. That's a process, that's for sure.
The idea
Right.
is just to get OBS out of the way. And he was saying don't stream, don't use the video for OBS. That's the only way I got it to work. So, who knows? Well, we're sitting at 29 and holding for right now, so it looks like we're pretty close to the number of people who are going to show up. And I know everybody's here with their pens and paper, and I'm recording it in 2 different places. It's going to be on YouTube, it'll be on my computer on 2 different videos, so we got this meeting covered. And yet, I still see...
Can you drop the YouTube in the chat?
Oh, you want... I don't know. Why did
Yeah,
I do that?
I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. I'd check it out.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Giving you the actual link instead of just telling you. But you'll find it just by looking at SEO Tom. There it is. There's the YouTube channel in
Oh, cool. Thanks.
and it's in chat for everybody to view at any time. If you want to go over and watch via YouTube when we stream, it's there. Of course, I think today is one of the few days that we've actually got it streaming properly. And I see there's only about 5 people with video on, so everybody is probably asleep or half asleep. Hi, Carrie. Hi, everybody. I know it's 6 after now. Dragging my feet because I know that we're up to 32 now. That's why I've been dragging my feet. What did I say? 100 and how many people? 103. That's how many people were registered for our meeting today. I could get my mouse to sit still. So there we are. I think you'll see that my video is a little better this week too. I've made some setting changes. Would you concur, Arthur?
Yes, it is.
You're awfully intent on something there. And everybody can hear me? Volume's up? Okay. Alrighty. So we have 31 people who attended today. Let's get started. Make a last ditch check here. Okay, because I'll get involved and I'll start going forward. So if anybody has any questions before we start, ask them now or forever hold your peace till the next time I ask. And because we have 2 pages of people today, excuse me, it's pretty important that everybody use the reaction buttons. Those will push you on to page 1, so I'll see that you've got your hands up or thumb up or whatever reaction that you've got. Otherwise, I'll be switching back and forth and I may not see you as I get involved here. Thanks for coming, everybody. We're going to have an important meeting today. And for those of you who haven't been here before or are just not sure what's going on, I'm Tom Garrison, and I've been doing SEO and web development for about 25 years. Arthur's here. He's my partner in crime, and he's been developing with just WordPress, and he's an Elementor guru and been doing that for so long I can't remember, since Rover was a pup.
18 years.
18 years. Ouch. That's a long time. So if anybody's looking for developers or looking for somebody to help them with their SEO on one-on-one, get a hold of us. And we're throughout our group. You'll see our images. You'll see that you can connect with us. If you're already connected, just send us a message and let us know what's going on. So today we're still growing, and now we're up to 34. We want to cover how to write your text on your page, how to write your content. And the reason that I was excited about today's meeting, not that I'm not excited other times, but a little bit more than normal. When I decided to have the meeting today about how to write content, my intent was to have people get on or come on, either with their audio or video or both, and talk about a page of their website to understand how they talk. And since we're recording everywhere, you would all have yourselves recorded. And then because it's going to be in my stream, you can either get it from there or I can send you just the audio, things like that. But it became a lot more fun to have chosen how to write content when Arthur sent me this thing about MUM, M-U-M. And I'm going to put that in the chat. And Google's up to its tricks. They're doing something different, adding something, which I'm going to tell you right off. In the chat right now, you'll find that linked to this MUM information. I want everybody to understand that in the beginning, and I even thought about this, at the turn of the century, can you imagine that we can actually say that? At the turn of the century, all the search engines didn't have the algorithms that they do today. But the most important thing, and the one thing that Google came across with, is content is king. Over the years, Google has really gotten into, well, if you got that much traffic and your content is garbage and your SEO is garbage, if you have enough money for your advertising and getting the traffic to your site, you'd win that way too. Get to the top of the search engine in a #1 position. But the idea has always been, since day one of the internet, content is king. And you should write that down because that's what SEO is all about. When you write your content, it should be just as conversational as I'm talking to you right now. So as I'm explaining this meeting and what we're getting into, that's the same basics that you want to write the content on each of your pages. Understand the subject. What's on just that one page? And for clarification reasons, I recommend that you don't start with your home page in trying to optimize. It's extremely difficult for most websites because they have too many subjects. So pick an internal page. It's one subject. The best thing that you can ever do is talk to somebody about that page. Now, it's important because that's what the search engines have always seen, but you cannot stop doing any of the things that you've already been taught and already know that you should be doing with a page. So the content needs to be there, your H1, the title, headings, all that stuff still needs to be in the page. But we're going to go over and read something about MUM. And I'll share my screen here with you and we'll get to a page. Google's MUM. The reason that I started in about text content is so important is because this new MUM is going to be a completely different way that Google is providing the search results. Now, I read this whole thing, and to me it's back in the beginning, as I was saying before, it's leveling the playing field if this works the way that they intend and you follow the directions. Basically, what you're doing is exactly what you should be doing all the time. Writing that content as if you're talking to somebody and making it so that you're answering questions, that you're providing information for people, just like we've gone over in so many meetings. The difference is, instead of choosing keywords, and I'm going to come back to share in just a minute, but I want to see faces on this. Instead of using keywords to rank, and everybody's always fighting about how do we rank, I want to rank better. MUM basically is saying forget about ranking and concentrate on that content, because we're going to pick the sites with the content that's written best and provides the best information. based on, of course, then that's into their algorithms, and we won't know exactly what that is. But part of this, I'm going to go back so that you can read this a bit more if you'd like to. But I want everybody to make sure that they copy this page and they keep it handy, because you should read this over and over. They're not looking at keywords to make MUM do the provide the search results that we would normally see. And instead of having a list of advertisements, then organic listings, what they're suggesting is that they're going to have a modal. What that means is they're going to have a display of search results based on the content instead of the rank from your keywords. So it gets deeper than that, but I'm trying to just hit on some basic parts, because I don't want you to get caught up in, and I don't even think for a second that I'm saying forget about what you've been doing, do this, do it different from MUM. No, you're going to combine everything. You're going to combine the way that you've been doing it. You're going to have, you can actually put videos in the page, because Google's now figured out a way to get in and extract what they feel is necessary from that video in the way of content. So if you just have pretty pictures in there, then that's not a video that's going to do anything for you. Things to know. Just like they're saying here, it's basically an advanced recommendation system. So when people ask for something on their phone, they're getting it delivered differently. So the whole thing comes back to, I'll stop sharing again because I want to see if there's some chat. Oh, I know that Google does a lot of things that irritate us, because now we have to do this, and how do we compete with the big boys? Okay, if they're doing what they suggest that they're doing in that article, MUM is going to be, it doesn't matter if it's Nike or some mom and pop shoe store. Which one is providing the content best and has these videos and does all the things that is suggested in MUM? The chances are there's going to be a lot of major corporations that will do some, but they may not do all. So you have a better chance to compete. Maybe you won't ever, but you can get close. Thing is, with MUM, I see it as a better chance of getting reviewed and served to the searches better, easier than putting the keywords in, trying to write the content, comparing to other sites. There's a lot of work in that. That doesn't mean don't do any of it. I got to stress that. You still have to do all of that. But the delivery system of the search results is going to change in Google. And the reason, one of the biggest reasons I say don't change what you're doing and what you've already learned, the other search engines are still going to be doing the same thing. Don't think that Google is the only place that you need to design your site for. There are other search engines, Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo are three of the tops. They have millions of people going to them. They're not going to do MUM. Bing might because they're in bed with Google, but who knows? The point is, do not stop doing exactly what you're doing. This is in addition. So Google is going to deliver the search results differently than other sites. Okay, so where do you go from here? Talk about a page. Do I have anybody who wants to, hands or thumb, anything like that? Anybody who wants to say, I want to try this on my page? You're being recorded, so you'll have it wherever you are, and I'm recording in 3 different places now. So if you want to come online, just raise your hand or put a thumb up and say, I want to do it for my page. Anybody? Oh, okay, Barbara. Go ahead. You need to unmute yourself, Barbara. There you go.
Okay. So you want me to just pick a page other than my home page?
Yeah. Put it in the chat and we'll look at it so you can tell us about that page while you're talking. That way you
Quick question. So since you know I'm a retail website, I have like different levels. So there's the home page and then I have like designers and then I drill down into individual designers. Is it better to pick an individual designer or something like just designers in general?
not a darn bit of difference as far as we know, because you know the site better than we do, and all we're doing is watching how would you describe everything on this page. How would you write the content for that particular page? And
Okay,
you're going
let
to
me
do
get,
it by just talking about it.
okay. Give me just a second here.
Okay. And I'll share that if I can get the thing out of the way. Okay, let's go take a look here. Okay, Barbara, you've got the floor.
And I'm supposed to describe this page?
Sure. Tell us what the page is about, and then think about the text that you would put on the page and talk to us as if you were going to use what you're speaking for the content on the page.
Other than what I already have there. I mean, I feel like that's what I would be saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me ask you this. Do you think that that's enough information to get across to people? Imagine that you're competing with other companies selling the same thing. Why would they want to be in yours? Are you getting their attention as soon as they hit the page? It's a loaded question, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, I could certainly go on, but I'm not sure anything beyond that would be meaningful. But I look at this all the time, so I'd be interested to
Okay,
see what other people think, getting other input
try it this
from
way.
it. But yeah,
Try it this way.
Yeah.
Don't look at the text on the page.
okay.
Just in your own words, describe the page. What's this about? You tell me. Tell me what this page is about.
This is a page about our wonderful Italian linens, Inizio linens from Italy. And they're extremely popular, and every season come in an array of different colors and styles, shapes and sizes. And our specialty is, being able to work with clients to find their perfect, fit and look. We can pre-order and special order these linens if you can't find your exact size and color or style preference. And we have customers all over the world that order these year round.
Well, Kaya, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Kaya makes a good point. She said it confuses linens and knits, but it doesn't. I mean, are the linens clothing?
Yes.
It does. Well, then you should point out that it's clothing, because, when I first see it, I look at linens, I think of bed sheets.
Right. Well, I do have on here dresses, tops, skirts, and pants, but written. I probably didn't say that.
Yeah.
That's where the video or the audio recording yourself is really handy, because just like this person pointed out, you're looking at it going, well, I know what's on the page. Yeah, but if I've never been here, I'm an idiot as far as dresses. So I looked at that question and I thought, you know what, it wasn't explained. I just assumed. Don't ever try to make people assume. You want, because you're talking to the search engine, don't assume because you've got pictures. You've got to talk as if there are no pictures on the page.
Right, but I do have that on the page. I do have clothing terms on the page.
Okay.
I didn't say it when I was talking because it's weird. It's really weird to be
Yes.
talking
Yes.
about it, and I see where it's sort of. I see where it's sort of different.
And if you listen to yourself, if you listen to the recording of yourself, you'd go back and go, whoa, wait a minute, let me start over.
Right, of course.
And that's exactly why you want to do it this way. That's why recording yourself is so important. So if everybody, I stopped the share because I want to see some of the faces. Recording what you're saying is so much more valuable than just typing. So if you're sitting in front of your word processor, whatever you're doing, however you're typing your content, record yourself saying it and listen to it several times. And you're going to go, well, that sucked. I'm going to do this over again. That's exactly what you want to do. So make sure you got the point already, Barbara, because you listen to yourself as you're talking. And if you go back and listen to the recording, you're going to go, oh, I think I would say it differently. You may have to record yourself several times before you finally get to a point where you go, I think that really hits the spot. And as I've said before, have somebody else listen to the recording. Have somebody sitting next to you when you're writing it or when you're recording, so that it's a very easy conversation with you. In fact, that's probably one of the best things, in addition to just recording yourself. Sit down with somebody and record the two of you having a conversation about that page. What you're going to find is exactly what you just saw, Barbara. You're going to find, oh wait, I heard that wrong. I don't want that in there. Or I forgot this, or I want to add that. Perfect. As you go through that process, you'll learn that well enough that, I don't know, do it several times, and by the time you get to maybe page 5 or 6 or something, you've got it down so you know how you want to talk about that page. You have figured out how to get yourself to talk conversationally and factually about the page. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
You look like you might have still questions, or that you're
Yeah,
thinking
no.
of how more you
No, it was a very interesting exercise for sure.
and I think that's one that other people will find. Yeah, I'd do that. Probably not ready to do it here in front of everybody else, but think of it as you're just doing it for your site. You guys are all here trying to go, how can I get to that elusive page 1, which Mom is getting rid of, so they say, and having a different way. It isn't going to be a page 1. You're just in the results or you're not. That's what Google's coming up with, and that was my takeaway in reading about them, but they may make some changes by the time it comes up. I can tell you that they are not going to be as concerned about rank. Rank is like, yep, never mind, not going to be concerned with that. So that's why talking, listening, reading it over and over is so important right now. Jason has a question for you. Is this site selling, don't go away, come back here. Selling something unique that can only be purchased at this site? If not, it can be bought at multiple sites. I think owners need to focus on why buy from me, which is, part of what I was saying to you, Barbara. Why would they buy from you? And that, again, would be another way to edit your recording.
Right.
that make sense?
Right. Well, it kind of goes back to solving the problem. You know,
Yes, yes,
if there's
exactly. Sales
you know,
is
it's-
usually about solving problems because you're
Right.
trying to figure out what's the problem that most people have with the products that I sell. So
Right.
you're going to address that. So yeah, and you usually pick up this stuff faster than most people. So I think you're going to get this and run with it. I already see those wheels turning.
yeah.
You already left. You're re-recording
Yeah.
in your head, aren't you?
Can I go now?
Yes, sorry. You don't have to be on the spot anymore.
Yeah, I'm already, it's funny, I take this time since I tend to pay, you know, I don't take specific time to work on my site. I tend to do it while I'm in these meetings with you guys because I, you know, I hear something and then I kind of go in and monkey around with it, employ it, and, you know, it gets me actually being in touch with my website because it's so easy to just go about everyday business and, you know, monkey around with Instagram and all the stuff that is, you know, that I feel is sort of non-essential but essential.
Yes, that's true. I think that I would also say that because of mum, I think everybody here needs to understand you do things a lot the way that you have, but you're going to be switching priorities and making sure that you're really concentrating on that text and how to make sure that text really is invitational, if anything, if nothing else. When somebody comes to a page of your site, it should invite them to read more. If it's really stale and factual, they may not stay very long. You might go find the competition. Unless you're, you know, a rocket science site, well, then you're expecting some pretty stale information.
Right. I mean, it's a retail site. I have to balance that
Yeah.
informational piece with, because people aren't necessarily there to read, but it's finding that sweet spot of, you know, text versus pictures in my case.
Well, yeah, the amount of text is what
Yeah.
you mean. Yes, yes. And, you know, I don't remember if you have the ability, but if you could, maybe between some of the rows of pictures, you could have some content.
Maybe.
That way you've got more content on the page. And as people scroll down, they go, oh, here's some more. There's another blurb that, oh, yeah, that's interesting because you're telling me more about this next section. Just a thought anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I always watch those wheels turning. Barbara's always
Yeah.
got the wheels turning.
Yeah.
Thanks, Barbara. Jason,
All right.
I wanted to address Jason for just a second. His question was, how many people have a brick and mortar store and are trying to figure out how to also sell online? I would bet, I'm not sure of the number, but I can guarantee you that each of the people who are here, whether you want to call them retail or what have you, e-commerce, they have some sort of e-commerce. They're selling, if not actually collecting money from their site. They're using it as a method for people to get in touch with them. And I know there are a few people in our group, may not necessarily be here today. I haven't seen a couple of names I was thinking about. But they are selling a product. The product is displayed on their website, and their hope is to get people to contact them about their product so that they can then sell as they're communicating with that person, either through email or on the telephone. So there are a number of ways that people use their sites, but of course, they're all trying to get to what is now the elusive page one search results. And pretty much until further notice, that's what's going to remain the same. But Google will at some point just all of a sudden okay, here's the new way that we're doing it. And of course, we'll all look at it in the beginning and kind of go, oh man, and scratch your head wondering where you land in it. It seems to me that I read in that article that Google is going to look at something in the neighborhood of 10. And it's like if they review 10 times and see that your site is getting X amount of traffic or a lot of people are spending X amount of time, then yours would be pushed into this MUM results. So it all comes back, 100% of it comes back to your content. So that content really is king. Any questions that we've got so far? No thumbs up, no hands. How about somebody else who would like to take a shot at just what Barbara did in describing one of the pages in your site? Anybody want to try it? This is a contest. It's more of a, let me see if I can spit it out. And it's hard. Because you're just talking about your page, which you've never done before. You're thinking about it in your head, and then you type up what you want. Now I'm trying to get you, and I've been doing this for months, making sure that people have a method so that they will actually talk about it and hear themselves so they know what other people are seeing, whatever text they write. And Tamara, you wanted to give it a shot?
I will give it a shot because I'm working with them to revamp everything now.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Can you put the website in the chat and then we'll look at it while you talk
yeah.
about it?
So, and I don't know if it's a lot different for home services as opposed to like retail and clothing or buying actually something online on your website. And if that makes it, you know, a bigger thing. So, I just don't think our website, it's very generic. It doesn't show what there's nothing personal about it.
Okay. So, first of all, get out of your head. And I know that that's for everybody. That's one of the most difficult things to do. How do I get out? Because I'm buried in my business. Well, for the purposes of writing content, and I suggest that you try it on another page other than your homepage because there's several subjects. We got plumbing, drain cleaning, water heaters. If you want, you can do it. I would suggest that you start with a page that's just one subject, though. Do you want to try this one, or do you want to try a different page?
Oh, no, we can try this one.
Okay. So go ahead, start telling us about this.
So this is our homepage that I honestly don't think accurately describes what we do. I've got to talk to our web guy. If you hit the schedule your service today, it literally goes nowhere. So we have so many faults and
It's supposed to be for a telephone,
right.
which seems
That
doesn't work.
yeah, they
Yeah.
use the app on our website, it looks like. And I just started with the company. It's my brother-in-law and sister's company. So I literally just started about a week ago. And so I'm kind of taking these things over. And so they just haven't had time to look at these and go through it.
Well, let's go back. What you were, and now that I've heard that this is not your site, but you're helping people.
No, I mean, I work for this company. I apologize. It's my brother-in-law who owns it, but I do work
Okay.
for him.
Okay, so there's two things you have going for you. One is that you're in the meeting, and two is that you know this business. Because now I would highly recommend that you sit down with one or both of them and do exactly what I was describing. Just sit down and talk about a page. If you want to do it on the home page, that's fine. But the idea is to tell us about this homepage. What's on this homepage that you feel would entice people to come in here and read what you've got?
And see, me, I think there's absolutely nothing, because it starts right off with complete dependable plumbing services, which I don't think belongs at the top. And then when you hit schedule your service and it doesn't go anywhere, then that kind of gives you a, you're thinking, wow, if they can't get their website right and it's up like this, are we really going to trust their services in my house?
Well,
Yeah,
I would
you're right.
agree. Oh, sorry, Arthur, go ahead. You wanted to say something before.
Oh, I was just saying that she's right. I mean, usually on the hero section right there, the first thing that should be there is something that's going to make people want to read more. Something
Exactly.
that's, a call to action. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but and the schedule your services today should be leading to an appointment app or
Exactly.
contact page or something. This doesn't look like a WordPress site.
Honestly, I'm supposed to get with the guy that designed this, and I'm not even sure how he did this, he's supposed to get me access to the kind of the back room of it, to start making some changes. But I'm not sure yet.
I'll take a look here.
It's not WordPress. I'm not familiar with whichever platform this person's using.
Let's see, it kind of looks like a GoDaddy site is why I was asking. Well, they're using Thrive for one thing.
Yeah. Not real impressed with that.
Yeah, I mean, Thrive is, it works for some people, I mean, I'm not gonna knock it, but then you're gonna have problems with it.
Yeah.
So,
Tamara,
try this.
one thing that I see and that you can do in any website, so this is for everybody. Can you think of something funny for the business? And as I'm sitting here looking and I was listening to you, instead of complete and dependable plumbing services, and not that you need to use this, but here's just an example. We can fix your drips.
Hmm.
Okay, so you got the person to chuckle at the very least.
Right.
And then you can have this button. I'm not even sure that I would. I mean, you can say, call for our services from that one, and then have it go to your contact page. But it's kind of, if you don't really say much up here, you haven't told them why they're here, what you're going to do for them. Other than I just said, kind of like a smart aleck, we fix your drips. But it's funny. It gets people relaxed. It's okay. That was kind of funny. What else you have to say?
Oh, we flush your problems away. That's funny.
There you go.
No, and you know what?
It can
That's
be in addition. We fix your drips, and that can be right here on this picture. We can
Right.
flush your. What did you say?
no, somebody in the chat said we can flush your problems away.
There you go. And you can use a drain cleaning for that.
Right. Well, and that's what we do on our Facebook page. It is all comical, so
Say
people
that.
share it.
Do
And
the same thing. I'll bet you get a lot of people, a lot of activity on your Facebook site, don't you?
mhm,
Okay.
because they just love seeing what we come up with.
Don't be dry and just to the point. We just do this, boop, boop, boop,
Right.
And because for two reasons. One, it puts off people. Two, we're talking about mom, and if you expect to get into mom, you've got to have the ability to have people look at the information, read the information, be involved in it. So if they just keep bouncing, you never get into mom.
Right.
So I believe that you are correct in everything. So if you just talked off the top of your head about the business, what would you say?
I mean, I think what would be an important part is to emphasize how we're a family owned business. You know, I mean, the kids work as plumbers, I'm his sister-in-law working in the office, that I mean, it's 100% a family business.
Perfect.
Everybody, all of our plumbers that are out there are related in some way or another.
Get that on the page.
Yeah, because I think the grassroots thing is really important.
Yes. I mean, it's just that you're talking to people. We're just a family business.
Right.
We don't hire outside people to come in. We are. Everybody, this guy is, this, you could have the about page do something like that.
Right.
But you really do want to be able to let people engage, get them like you're doing with Facebook, make them laugh. There's nothing faster to get people stuck on a page than hitting their funny bone.
Exactly. And that's what I also think as well, is to even change up the content, once a week or whatever. Have rolling specials. Even if it's not that special, at least give it a value add.
There's a problem with that theory. With SEO, if you've got a page, whether it's a home page or whatever it is, if you've got a page that's in like page 1 or 2 search results, you don't want to touch it.
Okay.
If you're constantly changing it, then it gets shoved back because the subject on the page is constantly changing.
What if we do it, several pages, or we just have a tab that's like specials or
Yep. You could even do
Would-
that. You could, sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, you could do that, but I would suggest, you could set up landing pages with
Mhm.
your specials,
Yep.
right.
pop-ups, when
Oh,
people
yeah.
go to exit, special discounts, that kind of thing. But Thomas is right. I mean, if you got a page that's ranking on page 1 and you go a static page and you go to start changing that content, then, you could lose ranking in it. So starting a
Sure.
blog, and write about plumbing, disasters and things like that, rather than changing your content around. The only time you should change your content in your static page is if you're trying to move it up in the search results.
Gotcha.
Blog is different. Blog is constantly adding more and more content to, your website. So I don't see a blog on the site.
Yeah, that's a good idea to add. And that's what I've been trying to do too, is even incorporate TikTok and videos on the website as to how to fix certain things, or tips and tricks, or just them watching somebody fix a drain or install a toilet.
Yeah.
Yes. Mom is looking for that. So
Yeah,
if you had
so-
a short video on several pages, a very short one, 2-3 minutes. If it gets up to 5 minutes, that's fine too. There's no limit. It's just that you want to keep it short so you don't have people going, "Whoa, this is taking
Right.
too long."
Yeah. Like drain maintenance,
Yeah, simple things.
yeah, drain maintenance and things, things like that. It does it. And what I have found that not only is video good, but if you do instructional along with the video, so if you got screenshot of, of a sequence, doing it that way.
Right.
you
And
will
that's what
find- Go ahead.
Oh no, then I was going to say, and that's what I've even suggested, is doing videos of me, who knows absolutely nothing about plumbing, actually doing some of these things so they can see it from a novice point of view,
Yep.
being instructed. So yeah, I mean, we've got some video ideas, just implementing everything.
And you're right. It does need some changes. And I'm going to
Yeah.
address Dr. Ann here in a second, but I want you to make sure to listen to this. If you're using a GoDaddy Build-A-Site, if you're using any kind of a Build-A-Site platform, Dr. Ann, can you come online?
Hi guys. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather right now, so I won't be on video, but
That's fine.
yeah, so I was told that so I've been using Squarespace for a couple years, and I hired someone locally to rebuild my website, and I noticed that my SEO, if anything, it went down, but they were supposed to, I guess they said claim that they would make it better. So I noticed it went down, and then I've just kind of been looking into different platforms, and because of my e-commerce and some of the apps don't link up to Squarespace very well at this time, I guess Shopify was recommended to me. I have already purchased the 1 year subscription, but I wasn't going to do anything until after the holidays because I've been I just don't want that interruption. But my concern is if I switch over to Shopify, would that cause a disruption in SEO? Is there a difference in platforms?
I'm working on trying to be kind to the platform that you've chosen. And Arthur is probably going to beat me to the punch because he doesn't want me to say something bad. If you're on a Build-A-Site platform, you're pushing a 5-ton rock up a 40% grade. It's next to impossible to really get the SEO done, to do everything that you want. And when you've got a platform like that, there are some that have better SEO. You can apply better SEO than others. But the bottom line is the search engines do not like going into those places because it takes so much time to find the sites that are in there. They have to first go into Squarespace or whatever it is and then find your site. They don't like to send their bots in there. So they'll send it in for a limited amount of time and they'll get a little bit of information from your site. The point I'm trying to get to is if you're really serious about your website and it's more than just a splash page, that's, the best you could hope for is that it would do okay. But trying to get it to a page 1, I don't know that you're ever going to be able to do that, but it's possible. It could cost you a fortune, though. The people who do those Build-A-Site platforms, they're not cheap. And what you've had done is you had a site and it was doing well from what you were saying. It was doing okay. I'm not sure what page
Okay,
it
it
was
was doing okay. Yeah, so it was still the Squarespace platform, and then they rebuilt it from scratch, and then I felt like I had significantly less customers.
You will.
Is Shopify better then? Is that also a platform?
That's a web build platform. Well, Shopify is you put your products in there and now you can build your site in there too. But there's another part that's bad with those sites is that a lot of them, there are a couple of them that allow you to save your site, but generally speaking, they own your site. So you can't take it anyplace else.
If you're trying to rank Squarespace or Shopify, Wix, any of those type of sites, you might be able to get on. I've never seen any site do better than page 3, but in the search results. And what I suggest is, if you really want to start getting some sales, to get into digital marketing, start advertising on Facebook, doing a lot of posting, in those type of areas, or you can go to Google Business Profile and use the Google Merchant, hopefully. But it's really tough to try and get your page to rank, and there's a lot of agencies out there that will take your money gladly. But personally, I would just go to WordPress where you got control of your SEO.
Correct. And Dr. Ann, if you were listening a little while ago, what I stated was if you've got a page that's doing fairly well, don't touch it, except if you know exactly what you're doing in order to get it into page 1. Let's say it was on page 3. If you were doing that well to get it to page 3, don't mess it up. Tweak a few things in it to try to get it into page 1. Now, what happened is that these developers that you hired, your site was doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you took it completely down to nothing and started over.
Mm-hmm.
So Google's saying the same thing. Well, then you go away and start over. So all that
What-
work that you had done to get whatever position that you had was for naught.
Mm-hmm.
Where was your site before Squarespace?
I'm brand new. I started in 2020. I'm gonna write down the website in just a little bit, but just from social media, I was able to gain quite a few followers. But I do know that Squarespace kind of helped me add in links from social media, and I think that might have helped. I did connect. I had a lot of apps leading to my Squarespace site. So I didn't have anything else besides Squarespace, and I'm in the process of switching over to Shopify. But now I'm concerned by what you guys have been mentioning.
Well, and I was trying to be gentle, but that's exactly the situation that I wanted you to feel. You really need to think about whether you're going to stay in Squarespace, because just like Arthur said, and we tell everybody all the time,
Mm-hmm.
if you really want to have full control of your website
Uh-huh.
and have every possibility to get into a page 1 or the results in MUM, you have to have a site that's on either WordPress or Joomla. Now,
Okay.
there are other platforms out there, but WordPress is the most popular, and there are tons and tons of plugins. The thing is, you're in full control of that website. If you're on Weebly, Squarespace, GoDaddy Build-A-Site, any of those things, you do not have 100% control.
Okay.
You have the options that they allow you to have instead of being able to have every option available to you.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, page speed is a huge thing for Google. I don't know if they're going to maintain it. I would imagine that they will, those restrictions as far as page speed, when they come out with MUM and say this is the way that we're doing it now. But the point is, they won't serve your page to mobile searches if it's really slow. And those Build-A-Sites, I don't know which one is the fastest, but they're all really slow.
Mm.
And I'm talking about if you're not in a 70 plus, I think you are 70% plus in as far as mobile page speed, then you're not going to be considered to be served to the mobile devices in Google. So your page in one of those Build-A-Sites, Arthur may have a different aspect on it, but I think that you're lucky to hit 60.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to get you anywhere close to where you need to be in order to have the mobile search, to be in the mobile search, be included in it. Because mobile devices make up roughly 70% of all searches,
Mm-hmm.
if you say, I'm not going to worry about speed, okay, well then you're saying, I don't care about 70% of my business.
Yikes.
So there's a lot to be said against going to these easy, quote unquote, Build-A-Sites, because you can drop this in, drop that in. Well, you had to figure out stuff, and it'd be the same with WordPress. You have to figure out stuff in order to drop stuff in, because it's the same drag and drop, depending on how you are working on the site. But they can be just as easy, if not more easy, to build a site in WordPress or Joomla than it is to go into these Build-A-Sites.
Hmm.
And then if you do it in Joomla or WordPress, you are not restricted to anything.
How long ago did they make the changes on your site?
They did it earlier this year. I would say, let's see, it was about March when they launched it. So it does look prettier. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter if it's, I guess, yeah. And then
Yeah,
with
I
the,
do. I
go
hear
ahead.
where you're going. You're saying it could be a really pretty site, but have horrible optimization.
Right.
And it can be just the opposite. It could be really well optimized in an ugly site and get good rankings.
Hmm.
So the look of a website, and I have fought with marketing companies tooth and nail on this. They want to argue that it's got to be pretty because that's what people want. And I keep going, you're missing the whole thing. It isn't about whether it's pretty or ugly. It's about whether it has the content that people want.
Hmm.
And it talks about, are you solving a problem for them? Are you there for them? What are you going to do for them? And what I've seen so far is their rendition. And I believe that I heard you correctly. This is your second Squarespace site, correct?
Correct. And now working on the Shopify because I was
Yeah.
just so frustrated with, the lack of traffic.
Yeah. I think that answered Arthur's question because he was kind of dancing around that. He didn't quite catch that this is the second Squarespace. And it's just been redone. And I agree, yeah, it's a pretty site. What's it look like on a mobile device? Have you tried it?
Yes.
Have you tried to get into it
I'm looking at
in your with your phone?
looking at the traffic, and from what I'm seeing, she's getting 6,000 visitors a month.
Is that bad or good?
Well,
That's
2,000,
good.
2,000 a week, that's not bad. That's pretty darn good. I think there are a lot of people who probably fight for that.
Unless I'm reading this wrong, but because what I'm seeing, I'm using Quake, by the way, Tom, and not sure if they're picking up the traffic because of Squarespace or if this is coming from her domain. Because the average visit duration is 16 minutes, 44% bounce rate. That's pretty good. I think what's going on is it's your content that's not converting because you're obviously getting the traffic.
I see.
So, yeah, it's a good looking site and everything, but from what I'm seeing, the diagnosis that I ran on it, to concentrate on the content.
Okay.
Get a SEO content writer, a website content writer to help you, somebody that does branding.
So do you recommend that I don't proceed with the Shopify account? I mean, it sounds like it's kind of the same thing anyway, and if I start over, will I be at the bottom again? It's going to be the same
No, I was,
domain, but different platform, I guess.
Well, it depends on who's doing the move for you. It depends on the developer, because, a good developer is going to make sure that the traffic's going to flow to
Mhm.
Shopify, but a lot of times that's not the case. From what I'm seeing, you're getting plenty of traffic, and why you would want to disrupt that or risk that is, I'm not understanding why you would.
Yeah, I had no idea I had so much traffic, and I didn't realize my issue was the content.
two issues.
How did you get to this point of redeveloping the site? Did somebody contact you and tell you that something was not right, or?
Yes, they claimed that they could get me more sales, and so I went with them. They redid I've seen some of their work, and I was wooed by the prettiness of their work, and
Sure.
they did it. But I mean, if anything, I saw a loss in sales, and it hasn't really picked up. I do have an Etsy shop, and that's going very well because of their internal SEO. But my website is significantly less, you know.
Are they, now, have you talked to them about that?
I have. They said that I should be doing more blogs, like you guys had mentioned. Um, yeah, just doing blogs and just wait.
Okay, as long as they're not trying to sell you on SEO, because a lot of times they'll do that. An agency, I mean, this is a great looking site. It's well designed. You know, I mean, I don't see any problems with that. You know, and you're obviously getting the traffic.
Hmm. That's good.
There's a reason, there's another, some other reason why this site's not converting. And the first thing that pops into my mind is, content.
Okay.
Followed closely by the page speed.
Pardon?
Followed closely. I mean, Arthur's right. That content needs to draw people in and
Mhm.
provide the information that they want,
Okay.
so that they are engaged in the page and then will take action. So you would want to have make sure that you've got plenty of call to action. And let me take this out of here. In addition to the fact that you're getting a lot of traffic to the site, and like you guys have talked about, it's not
Mhm.
getting converted.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at this, you're seeing that you've got 24 seconds for a mobile device to be interactive with your site. And the page speed index of 8.3, the mobile devices, the research that Google has done has shown that mobile device users will give you up to 3 seconds
Mm-hmm.
before they abandon your page. So if everything's not loaded, so they can, even if it's still loading in the background, but they can interact with the page in less than 3 seconds, they'll stay. If they can't interact for 24 seconds, yeah, there's a good chance they're not going to stay.
See.
So the content needs to be there and the page speed needs to be there. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to control the page speed as much as you can in an independent site.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I agree that the look is great.
Mm-hmm.
If you took the site exactly as it is, now I understand it's going to require somebody who really knows what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but if you took the site in exactly as it is and moved it to either WordPress or Joomla, so it's an independent site, and you got it on a good server, so everybody hears me say this, there are 2 hosting companies that we find of value. A2 Hosting and Green Geeks. You won't hear us talk about anybody else that we're going to say that we won't recommend anybody else. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And those 2 sites have Lightspeed servers specifically for WordPress that's slow out of the box. You can get that thing, and I know Arthur and I have both done it, into 90s, maybe even 100% page speed, even though it's got a 20 or 30 or something around that on these other sites. So it can be done if it's an independent site. But if you move 100% of what's there, don't touch the content, all the pictures, it's exactly the same site. Now work on it as an independent site.
Mm-hmm. Can I hire you guys to do that? I don't know who to hire to move all this stuff to the Green Geeks or A2 Hosting. Do you guys know how to do that?
Yes, and
Oh,
either one of
great.
them does it for free. So if you decide that you're going to host with them, they'll move it over for you. But
Well,
you're in a situation where it's on Squarespace. I'm sure they're well versed at bringing that over.
you would have to rebuild the entire site to WordPress if you wanted to do that. I mean, you just can't. That's the whole problem with these kind of websites is you don't own them and you just can't pick up and move from one server to the other.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can export some things with Squarespace, but to do it completely and have exactly what you have right now, it would have to be rebuilt in WordPress. And
You know,
Also,
for me, I think one of the ways to do it is to create a duplicate of the site on a fast server, and then switch the domains, which is usually the way that you want to do it anyway. But you can go through it page by page, line by line, to make sure that you've got everything exactly the same as it is now. Now just switch the domain name server information so that it's pointing to a different host platform.
Would it cause so that wouldn't cause an interruption then in my traffic?
Now, doing it the way that I described, you have, when you do the actual domain transfer, you've got basically several hours. I know with A2, most places will tell you anywhere from 24 to 72 hours when you switch. But I've seen A2 do it in like 2 hours and sometimes even less. So it depends on how good the server is where you're going to. You won't, it'll, if you do it at night, let's say you started after 10 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
by the morning it should be done. So by the time that you have, in the worst case scenario, I'd say you might have lost traffic for half a day.
Okay. But I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. You guys are able to help with this part, right? Or do I need to, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I will contact you guys. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Yeah.
Making sure that I respond to Gilda, who's looking to find out Green Geeks and A2 hosting. And just put a .com behind either one of those and you'll be at those sites. Barbara, you had a question. But you can't talk until I unmute you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Yes, go ahead.
Hopefully these are two quick questions. One is relevant to what we were just talking about. Not exactly switching sites, but when you have a developer install an upgraded version of your site. So if I'm on Magento 2.3 and I have someone who's going to, update it to 2.4, should there be no problems
No.
at all? Or are there things that I should look for?
If you're just updating your platform, there isn't anything that you should be concerned with. I do a backup of 100%. I back up the database and I back up the entire site before I do any other updates. And then,
Right. I have a development a development copy. So, but there wouldn't be any from the Google end, they wouldn't pick up any glitches or anything like that.
No, you should be updating every month usually. Most decent platforms, the developers of the platform are going through that code to see if there's any vulnerabilities or something, a way to make it work better, and they're constantly sending out updates. So anytime that they do an update, anytime I get one for one of my sites, I go and I back it up in the cPanel, back up the database, and then I go do the updates.
Right, which they do, but this is sort of a major minor change to a completely, from
Yeah.
2.3 to 2.4. So it's a little bit more involved.
And Joomla did the same because they went from version 3 to 4. And when they did that, you really had to make sure that everything in there was compatible with the newer version before you hit that button. So you got to go through a lot of stuff. But if you do it right, there's no reason to think that it's going to disrupt anything in Google or any other search engine.
So that was one question because it got me thinking about that. And then the second question, I'm looking through the MUM, things. And one of the things that they talk about is, the markup or schema. And I don't think I really know what that is. And is it really important? Is it?
Yeah, follow that article and follow those links. Those links will explain to you what the schema is and why.
Right.
You need it.
I know what it is. I mean, like I can look at it and say, oh yeah, I've seen that before, on sites or on searches when I do searches, but I don't, so it's important. It's an important thing to
It's
Yeah.
important
Yeah,
to have,
they-
but it's usually the platform itself that provides the proper schema.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe I have it. Does it come up in different forms? I mean, does it look different on different searches?
Do you have Google Search Console?
Yeah.
You can test your schema there. Just take a page and if you go to Search Console and take that URL, you can run a schema test on it. And if Google says it's okay, then you're good to go.
Okay.
And I
I'll do
don't-
that. Because I mean, maybe I have it already. I don't, you know.
Well,
It's
like
one of
you-
those things that pops up and
Yeah,
I go, oh, what is that?
Yeah. It's a technical thing and you're going, well, how do I address that? It's supposed to be your platform that's addressing that. Joomla, when they first came out with it, I had a problem with the breadcrumbs because the schema in the breadcrumbs wasn't quite right. Well, they did a couple of updates and it took care of that. But Google doesn't take away from anything if that is an issue. It's nice to make sure that you address everything that does have an issue, but it's not something that is going to stop you from getting to page one. Depending on what it is. I mean, if it's some.
It just helps. It does help you get found
Yeah.
in the searches, but it's not necessarily a page rank,
Okay.
you know. But it is good to have, you know, WordPress, you know, your SEO plugins will once you install them, they automatically pick up the schema. But
Okay.
for better schema, the pro versions are better. Because schema, I mean, it has a lot to do with social media and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, as you guys know, like I kind of, you know, as I'm reading through this, I kind of get a little bit into the weeds with, you know, do I have this? Have I addressed this? Have I not addressed this? So that's always been one thing that I kind of go, oh,
Google Search
what should I do
Console-
with that? And then I move on.
Yeah. Well, Search Console monitors that stuff. So if you're
Okay.
set up a Search Console, they will send you notifications if there's something that, you know, they send errors and they send warnings. The warnings are not as important as the errors. You know,
Right.
warnings are just suggestions. You know, and you know, that's why being connected with Search Console is so important.
Yeah.
And then another thing to be connected with is Ahrefs, because you can
Right.
sign up for them for free and they'll monitor your website too. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that pretty well wraps up our meeting for today. I hope you guys all had a good time and got some great information. Any questions before we go? Or is everybody just inundated and all went over the top of your head? And Dr. Ann, yes, you can contact me. You'll find me in the group and just hit the connect button and we'll go from there. Linda, you had a question. I guess I need to unmute you, don't I?
Hi.
Hi there.
Arthur had just mentioned Search Console will monitor your website. And what's the other name that you just said?
Ahrefs, I think is what you were trying to say, correct? Aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, Ahrefs. Yeah.
Can you put that in the chat so I get the correct spelling, please? Okay, can you put that in the chat? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we go? That was a simple one. Nothing? All right, so you guys have your marching orders and lots of thinking. And do get serious about recording yourself. And if anybody wants to watch the recording, I'm looking at it here over in YouTube, so you're more than welcome. Kevin, you're a day late and $1 short. Anyway, thanks for joining, people. We'll see you next week. Have fun.